You ever hear a story so wild you can barely believe it's real? Well, buckle up, because what happened to my family and the Rodriguez family, man, some days I still can't believe it myself. I guess the only way to start is straight from the moment my whole world spun off its axis, when a woman everyone in my neighborhood knew as Karen from the HOA walked into my hospital, faked being a child protective agent, and switched my newborn daughter with another baby. I'm telling you, this woman looked me right in the eye at neighbor meetings and complained about my lawn, all the while plotting the worst thing anyone's ever done to me. You know what I mean. I'll never forget the sound of my daughter's first cry echoing off the hospital walls. My wife Sarah had just gone through 18 hours of labor, and when they handed Emma to her, I saw a part of myself in both their faces. "She's perfect," Sarah whispered, happy tears mixing with sweat. Even as a hospital director who's seen thousands of births, nothing prepares you for the feeling of holding your own kid. But we didn't get to just enjoy that miracle moment. Not for long. Emma was born with a rare heart condition, so the NICU team came to take her for surgery prep almost right away. I thought I knew how everything in that hospital worked. I mean, it's my hospital, but even I didn't see what was coming. The woman I'm talking about, Karen Matthews, had been watching us for weeks, making notes about hospital routines, studying schedules, even following us in the neighborhood. The same Karen who'd threatened to fine us over grass height was now in my hospital plotting to ruin lives for good. 3 hours later, Nurse Rodriguez came running in with her face pale as a ghost panic radiating off her. "Dr. Chin, there's been a terrible mistake. The baby in our NICU isn't Emma." My stomach dropped so hard I thought I'd pass out. "What do you mean, she's not Emma?" Lab results had just come back wrong, blood type wrong, weight wrong, everything. Then the nurse said the words I'll never forget. "A woman showed up with CPS documents and switched your daughter with another baby." Sarah's scream, honest to God, it cut right through me. We tore into the security footage. There she was, Karen wearing a fake badge, carrying a baby carrier, swapping my Emma for another infant like it was nothing. I recognized her immediately. She'd been in the hospital last month arguing about parking fees, and now she was leaving with my daughter. Why would she do something so insane? Head of security pieced it together quick. Karen lost her own baby years ago in a car accident. After that, her life kind of fell apart. Her husband left, she got obsessed with control, and somehow decided she deserved to take what wasn't hers. Turns out the baby she left behind Isabella belonged to another family. The Rodriguezes, who'd just come to the States, didn't speak much English, and honestly, Karen probably thought they wouldn't have the means to fight back. That realization hit me like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just about us, she targeted families she thought couldn't defend themselves. That's when I stopped thinking like a scared dad and started thinking like the director. I called in every favor I had pulled staff from every floor and demanded a full background on Karen, where she lived, who she talked to, every complaint she'd filed. I was going to find her no matter what. But Karen was smarter than I gave her credit for. The fake CPS forms were flawless, and she picked the exact shift when security would be thinnest. 8 hours went by. Nothing. No sign of Emma or Isabella. Sarah had a total breakdown and had to be sedated. I sat in that silent room, listening to the sound of another woman, Maria Rodriguez, crying in Spanish beside her. You didn't need to know the words to know what she was feeling. All I could do was promise Maria and her husband Carlos that I would get both girls home. Then, like something out of a movie, my phone rang. Detective Morris on the line. We found them. Karen was holed up in a mountain cabin, both babies with her. I drove like a bat out of hell to get there. When I saw Karen sitting on that splintered porch holding Emma with one arm and the other baby crying beside her, something in me snapped. She screamed, "Stay back! These are my babies now, I deserve them." She actually believed she'd saved the girls from us. "Karen, Emma has a heart defect," I pleaded. "She needs surgery. The other baby was born premature." You'll kill them if you don't let us help." She wouldn't listen, just clung to Emma, muttering about hospitals making mistakes about those people not deserving children. Yeah, she said that out loud in front of cops, me, everyone. The most hateful, racist stuff you could imagine. While I talked to her, trying to keep her calm, Detective Morris's team surrounded the place. I could see the color draining from Isabella's face. She wasn't breathing right. Finally, I just shouted, "Officers! Now!" They swarmed in. Karen went nuts, screaming and fighting, but in the end, they pulled both babies to safety. Emma was weak, but alive. Isabella was in bad shape, but hanging on. We got both girls into ambulances, and Karen was cuffed right there on the porch, still screaming about how she deserved them more than us. Back at the hospital, the Rodriguez family and mine shared a room waiting out those first terrifying hours. Both babies made it. Barely, but they made it. And let me tell you, that's when my real revenge started. I called in our legal team and pushed for every charge imaginable: double kidnapping, child endangerment, fraud, conspiracy, hate crimes, attempted murder, you name it. Karen had gone out of her way to target a family she thought couldn't fight back, and I wasn't letting that slide. That was just the beginning. We discovered Karen had been running our HOA illegally for years. She wasn't even supposed to be president. She'd faked her credentials, bullied neighbors, and fined people without any authority. Worse, she'd been stalking pregnant women, planning more kidnappings. We gathered every family she'd ever harassed and filed a class action suit. 23 families joined in. Then, when police raided her computer, we found files on a dozen families' photos, medical info schedules. She wasn't just after Emma and Isabella. She was planning to steal even more babies. The story exploded in the news. HOA Karen's baby-switching horror was everywhere: TV, social media, you name it. The Rodriguez family became a symbol of immigrant resilience. Donations poured in. Karen's life fell apart overnight. Fired, evicted, insurance dropped, total social exile. I mean, her face was everywhere. I won't lie, watching her lose everything felt pretty damn satisfying. But the trial was the real turning point. Prosecutors revealed everything: how she'd planned for months, forged documents, picked victims based on race and perceived vulnerability. The Rodriguez family testified about what it felt like to be targeted because they were immigrants. Maria cried on the stand, saying all she wanted was to love her daughter. When it was my turn, I looked right at Karen and said, "You stole my daughter at her most vulnerable, and you endangered another just because you thought you could get away with it. You picked the wrong families to mess with." It took the jury 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts, 35 years in prison, no chance of parole till she's an old woman. The judge added time for hate crimes and the baby's medical conditions. Karen's entire life, her house car retirement, got liquidated to pay damages to every family she'd hurt. The HOA was dissolved for good. Our neighborhood free for the first time in years. And the Rodriguezes. Their story went national. They got permanent residency, full-time jobs at my hospital, and Isabella became an American citizen. The two girls, Emma and Isabella, thrived. They grew up side by side, best friends, two survivors who refused to be broken by hate. Our families bonded over cookouts, soccer games, and shared holidays. Maria teaching Sarah to make tamales. Carlos teaching me to care about football. A few months after sentencing, Karen sent a letter from prison. Said she was sorry, said she was getting treatment, but knew she could never make it right. I read it to Sarah and Maria. Did I forgive her? Maybe I forgave the part of her broken by grief, but never the part that targeted babies and tried to destroy a family because of the language they spoke or where they came from. Maria agreed some things you can't undo. 3 years on, I'm now the regional hospital director. Our hospital's security protocol, named after both families, became national policy. Karen sits in prison, probably replaying her choices every day. Emma and Isabella are healthy, happy, and have no memory of those first horrible days. Our community is stronger, safer, and finally at peace. So here's what I learned. Sometimes justice looks like revenge. Sometimes it just looks like a father doing whatever it takes to protect his kid. Karen thought she could steal our lives because she had nothing left to lose. She was wrong. We have everything that matters: family, community, hope, and she's left with nothing but consequences. Some folks call what I did revenge. Me, I call it justice. But maybe you see it differently. Was it revenge justice or just survival? Tell me what you think. Whose side are you on when a community has to stand up to someone who thinks they're above the law? Drop your thoughts below, because stories like this don't just belong to one family. They belong to all of us.